Good day, everyone. This is Mark Vello, and you're listening to Headline News. Beijing called high-level meeting after Trump's important speech. On December 2nd, President Donald Trump delivered his most important speech to the American people at the White House, vowing to do his constitutional due diligence to uphold the laws and Constitution of the United States and protect the American electoral system. He warned that the American electoral system is under deliberate attack and siege, saying they wanted to steal the 2020 presidential election. Quote, "As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege," unquote. It is believed that President Trump's remarks hinted at significant options to follow up. A few hours later, the Politburo Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, suddenly met again under the guise of listening to the report on poverty alleviation. This caused all sorts of speculation. The CCP's Politburo just finished a meeting 3 days ago on November 30th, and now the top party officials are rushing to get together again, and the world is wondering if it really is for poverty alleviation. After the president's emergency remarks, the Trump administration launched a series of heavy punches against the CCP, announcing on December 4th that it would terminate PRC-funded propaganda programs, including 5 PRC soft power propaganda tools disguised as cultural exchanges. It also announced visa restrictions on Chinese officials who engage in coercive influence activities. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that the State Department may deny entry into the U.S. to officials of the communist regime's United Front Work Department. His tweet read, "Today I announce visa restrictions on United Front Work Department officials who have engaged in malign activities to co-opt and coerce those who oppose Beijing's policies. We call on the PRC to end its use of coercion to suppress freedom of expression." The Trump administration is making it clear. The threat to freedom and democracy worldwide posed by the CCP is real, and the United States must rise to this once-in-a-generation challenge. In terms of economic policy, the U.S. has also accelerated the pace of delisting Chinese concept stocks. On December 2nd, the U.S. House of Representatives unanimously passed the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act, which restricts the listing of Chinese companies on U.S. exchanges. According to analysts, this new law may drive a large number of China concept stocks out of the U.S. market, causing many Chinese companies, including Alibaba and Baidu, to withdraw from the U.S. stock market and cut off the black hand extended to the U.S. economy. The Chinese authorities have suddenly changed their tough stance toward the United States after the high-level meeting. On November 30th, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunyin claimed that the U.S. was provocative and threatened to take countermeasures by making serious representations. On December 3rd, however, when asked by a reporter how she would respond to the visa restrictions on CCP members, Hua said she had not seen the latest report on the regulations, and her attitude seemed so weak that she was described as turning into a frosty eggplant and stopped her war wolf-like clamor. The Chinese Communist Party's media, Xinhua News Agency, also changed its tone, focusing on the U.S.-China relationship on its front page and softening its tone dramatically. Not only had the attitude towards the United States changed, but the attitude towards Australia and India suddenly softened as well. Some analysts believe that this is a hush order from the top of China's officials, as a sign that the CCP has softened its attitude toward the United States. As the wind is blowing in the wrong direction, they want to put a brake on what they have been doing. What else will the US do after the new bill and visa tightening? Xi Jinping probably would like the CCP Politburo Standing Committee to share the risk involved. Headline: Officials reacted differently to Pompeo's speech. There is more and more exposure of the evidence related to foreign interference in this US election. If it is proved that Chinese Communist Party intervened in this election fraud, the US will certainly not ignore it. Recently, an old video has been spread on the internet and has become a hot topic among the public again. This is an old video of Mike Pompeo's speech at the National Governors Association in Washington, D.C. In this speech, he reminded the state officials to adopt a cautious mindset when doing business with China. He said that Beijing was seeking to take advantage of America's openness to undermine it. When talking at an event called the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries, exposing the public face of the CCP's official foreign influence agency, which is the United Front Work Department, Pompeo presented the following questions. How many of you made the link between that group and Chinese Communist Party officials? What if you made a new friend while you were at that event? What if your new friend asked you for introductions to other politically connected and powerful people? What if your new friend offered to invest big money in your state, perhaps in your pension, in industries sensitive to our national security? He continued. These aren't hypotheticals. These scenarios are all too true, and they impact American foreign policy significantly. He also frankly warned the governors. Indeed, last year, a Chinese government-backed think tank in Beijing produced a report that assessed all 50 of America's governors on their attitudes towards China. They labeled each of you friendly, hardline, or ambiguous. I'll let you decide where you think you belong. Someone in China already has. Many of you indeed in that report are referenced by name. The highlighted part of this video was that the facial expressions of the officials in the audience changed differently as he spoke, as if they had different mindsets at that time. Referring to the scenarios of foreign interference in the states during this election, President Trump's government indeed had foreseen it beforehand. Headline: Hunter Biden's computer repair serviceman published a video about himself and his family. In this election, a scandal involving Biden's son, Hunter Biden, uncovered the Biden family's corruption and ties with the Chinese Communist Party. However, John Isaac, the owner of the computer repair store, who exposed the scandal, was threatened and hid himself for some time. However, Isaac suddenly appeared online recently, sending out a 3-minute video that illustrated his story and clarified some rumors about himself. In the YouTube account that registered with his name, Isaac first shared the photos of his family, introduced his father and grandfather as lifelong fighters against communism, and refuted rumors that he was a Russian spy. Isaac said he was proud of his family and his country. At the same time, Isaac also refuted rumors that he was a hacker. He showed his own bills about computer repairs for Hunter, saying that he was only performing technical processing on Apple computers for the purpose of recovering data. The rumor that he was a hacker had an irreversible effect not only on his business, but also on his psyche. The video ended with the words, "Thank you and God bless America," appearing on the screen. The video is short, but sad to watch. A man whose family has been willing to sacrifice his life for the sake of America for generations has been mercilessly harmed by many malicious rumors, causing great distress to his life and business simply because he exposed the Biden family's scandal. At present, many people who dare to speak out the truth and expose it are in danger. The extreme left wing of the Democratic Party has even threatened these people openly. Many of these people that uncovered the election fraud, as well as some officials, are victims. Headline: Senators were threatened by radical leftists. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, who has publicly supported President Trump and has been the target of attacks from the left, has also been targeted by CNN. At the direction of CNN President Jeff Zucker, Lindsey Graham has been the subject of attack in the news. In a recently released CNN recording, Zucker also said that the headline of their smear article on Graham was too polite and that they should go after him harder. Moreover, on December 3rd, the radical leftist protesters threatened several Republican senators. They actually put bags of bodies in front of Republican senators' houses and accused them of delaying the Congress from negotiating the COVID-19 relief bill. But the protesters are ignoring the fact that it was the majority Democrats in the House who had been stonewalling. The Republicans were the ones actively pursuing negotiations. The radicals dragged black bags out of the back of a rented truck and lined them up alongside the residence of Republican Senators Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, James Inhofe, and Lindsey Graham in Washington. Many of the bags had white signs with curses against President Trump written on them. Spaces in Action, a radical leftist group, tweeted, "Today we brought the bodies to their doorsteps." Even though they were threatened, lawmakers like Graham have not changed their stance. In an interview, Lindsey Graham expressed his support for President Trump to take the case to court. He said, "The president is going to challenge systems that he thinks failed. He's going to fight for every vote in all these swing states, and I would encourage him to do so." He advised President Trump to take his case to the courts and fight it to the best of his ability. Graham's comments actually show that he never believed that Trump lost the election, but rather that he was on his way to reclaiming his own victory.